Hello and welcome back to Learning Science Q&A. Today we are here again with some more important question from the CBSE Board 2025 series. So let's get started. Here we are given with some series of reaction where each reaction is related to the previous one. Let's see how we can do this. Reactant A in presence of H2O when undergoing electrolysis producing caustic soda and liberating a gas at anode. This upside arrow shows that it's a gas. We have already discussed this in our previous lecture. Also, another gas Z is released at cathode. Again, the same A in the molten state is when undergoing electrolysis producing M, another intermediate at cathode, and the same Y gas at anode. So let's take the first reaction first of all. We have NaOH produced here. That means this must be NaCl or the aqueous solution of NaCl undergoing electrolysis. And when NaCl is undergoing electrolysis, NaOH or the caustic soda is produced along with the chlorine liberated at the anode and H or hydrogen gas liberated at cathode. So this is how we will complete our first reaction. Now the molten solution or the molten NaCl when undergoing electrolysis, what we are getting M at cathode and Y at anode. So Y is again the chlorine gas which is liberated at anode, and this is broken down, or you can say decomposed as this, right? Now when Na in presence of CH3COOH, which is acetic acid, when these both are reacting, we are getting another product P along with liberation of Z gas, which is again H2, and here we are getting CH3COONA. As you see, H from the acetic acid is replaced by the sodium, and what we get here is the sodium salt or the sodium acetate. We get here CH3COONA, which is the sodium acetate. Students, we need to know the name of these compound also, because we need to derive their name at the second part. So when acetic acid is combining with another reactant Q in presence of concentrated H2SO4, it is producing R, and this R in presence of X is giving us P and Q. So let's see the reactant that we already know from the above reactions. Here this P is R CH3 COONA, right? Q we don't know and R we don't know. Again, X is NaOH. So the reaction number 4 is a standard reaction for the production of a compound which are fruity smell compound and named as ester. So this is a standard reaction which takes place between an acid and alcohol. So the alcohol here is the ethanol. So when acetic acid and ethanol are reacting in presence of concentrated H2SO4, we are getting an ester ethyl acetate, and the ester is CH3COOC2 H5, which is the ethyl acetate or ethyl ethanoate. These are fruity smell substances or compound named as ester. So R is again the ester which is reacting with NaOH here, producing CH3COONA, and alcohol which is the ethanol. So now we have completed all the reaction. A is NaCl, sodium chloride. Y is chlorine gas. Z is hydrogen gas, M is Na or sodium, P is sodium acetate CH3COONA, and R is ethyl acetate or ethyl ethanoate, which is an ester. Second part of this question says improvise an activity to test Z. Now we know that Z is our hydrogen gas, and students, we have so many questions in examination that ask you to test the presence of this particular gas. So always remember, whenever we are getting a question to detect the presence of hydrogen gas, we'll always use a matchstick, a burning matchstick near the point where this gas is getting released, and if that burns with a pop sound, we'll say that the liberated gas is hydrogen. It won't be oxygen because oxygen act as a supporter of combustion only, whereas hydrogen burns with a pop sound. It will give a magnified combustion. Now the next question, the diagram given below shows the apparatus that can be used for electrolysis of water, which is done by passing electricity through acidified water. Now we have very important point mentioned here, that acidified water is used here for electrolysis. First reason, that it make the water more conducting. We never use distilled water for an electrolytic solution or as an electrolytic solution just because it doesn't have any salt dissolved in it. So, distilled water is not a good conductor. Whenever we want to use water as an electrolyte, we make it more conducting by adding some salt, and that can be easily done by adding acid to it. Now, what we need to know under Now, during electrolysis, they have asked you name the gas A and name the gas B. We have negative terminal at this side, positive terminal at this side. So, we need to remember that the gas which will be liberated at the anode side will be the oxygen, and the gas that would be liberated at the cathode side will be hydrogen. So, our gas B will be hydrogen. Or you can say the electrode which is connected with the positive terminal of the battery will get oxygen released, and the electrode which is connected with the negative terminal of the battery will get hydrogen gas released. Now, what type of reaction is taking place here? The reaction is electrolysis of water or the decomposition reaction. The reaction taking place here is the decomposition reaction because water is breaking down into its constituent gases. So the reaction which is taking place here is an example of decomposition reaction. As we can see, water is breaking down into its constituent gases. Write the chemical equation for the reaction which is taking place here. We have H2O breaking down into hydrogen and oxygen, and to balance it we will write 2 here. So this would be the reaction that is taking place here. Again we have the same question. Give one test to detect the gas which is produced at the cathode. Now the same test will be applied here also, because wherever hydrogen is released, it will be burning with a pop sound. Why they have not asked you to detect the presence of oxygen? Just because we already have oxygen in plenty in our environment. So there is that will just support the combustion. Even if you'll take a matchstick near the gas oxygen, it will just support the combustion in a normal way. as you see in the environment. But in presence of hydrogen, you will get a magnified combustion. So in this way, we can complete this question. Next, we have some more assertion and reason based question. You all are aware that these questions are consist of two kind of statement. One being a assertion or a statement, another is a reason. What we need to know whether the reason given for assertion is true and correct for it or not, or whether the statement or the assertion itself is a true statement or not. So we have four options here: whether both A and R are true and reason is correct explanation for A, whether both A and R are true but R is not the correct explanation for A. Also, we have A is true but R is false, and A is false and R is true. So let's see the question now. The first question here says the aqueous solution of copper sulfate turns colorless when a piece of lead is added to it. We have aqueous solution of copper sulfate, which is actually blue in color. Beautiful blue color is there, and they are saying that this turns colorless or it fades when a piece of lead is added to it. So yes, this happens because copper get displaced by lead forming PbSO4, and copper is present as it is. So reason here is lead is more reactive than copper, hence it displaces copper from its salt solution. Yes, assertion and reason both are true, and reason is the correct explanation for the assertion. So for first question we have option A as answer, because the aqueous solution of copper sulfate is blue. Once lead is added to it, it turns colorless or it fades. So it is turning colorless just because of the displacement reaction taking place. Next question here is genes inherited from the parent decide the sex of the child. Yes, this is true. We get genes from our parent. We have discussed in last class also that we have a complete set of chromosome in male parent and a female parent, and when a new child uh, is being born, they get genes from both the parent, or you can say they get chromosome randomly from both the parent, and in this way the complete set of chromosome is made. So first statement is a true statement that genes are inherited from parent and they decide the sex of the child, whether the child will be male or female. We can see this in this way. We have this XX from mother or the female parent and XY from male parent. So a child can get either X from the female and either X from male, also either Y from male. So if it gets X from both the parent, the child will be a female, and if Y is inherited from the male parent, the child will be male. Now, the reason here is X chromosome in male child is inherited from his father. This is a wrong statement because in a male child, X chromosome comes from the father, because mother doesn't carry any Y chromosome. So, in a male, if Y is coming, then it must come from the male parent. X chromosome in male child is always and always coming from the mother. So the reason is wrong here, assertion is right. We have A is true but R is false. Lastly, we have blood clotting prevents excessive loss of blood. This is a true statement that whenever there is an injury, the blood vessels are suppose injured. We have blood clotting there that make a plug like structure at the place of injury, and in this way they stop the bleeding. Right? Now, blood clotting is due to the blood plasma and the white blood cell which are present in the blood. This is again a wrong statement because blood clotting is taking place because of the platelets and the clotting factors which are present in our blood, right? Blood plasma and white blood cells are not responsible for the blood clotting. Platelets form a plug like structure at the place of injury, and after that the clotting factor act to clot the blood. In this way, the blood loss is prevented. So, here again, assertion is a right statement, but reason is wrong. So, we have C as the correct answer here. With this, we come to an end to this video. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.